Now
Okay.
in real world scenario now, so I have created a Spring Boot application, a microservice using Java, right?
Okay.
So how do I Dockerize it? How do I make it a Docker image? My Spring
Okay.
Boot
Okay.
app.
Okay, we can do it. See, for this, you have to go to Docker Hub. You have to search for the Spring Boot image, and then you have to like download that image on your own local system, and then run Docker on it, like run it in Docker. So all the images, most of the images are available, like practically all the images, because we do not have that caliber to build the image of our own. Even if we build the images, we use the existing images and modify them to build our own image, but we do not build from scratch.
Okay.
So you will be able to find an image of the same whatever application you want to use on the Docker Hub, and then we like take that image from there and run it in Docker.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I just basically pull that image, make the modifications that I want, just like I'm doing in my local, and push it to my hub.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll try that. I'll try that.
Yes. So Greg, like you attended before session, like session before and session on Saturday. So what would you like to talk today, and how can I like we together make a meaningful discussion? Because we are four people: Ashfaq, Mickey, you, and me.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought today we were going to do something different since we've completed Docker, but it's okay. Um, for like the question I just asked now is just to go back and do some practice. But the thing is, you're learning a lot of tools, right? And
Yes, you have to
like,
pull the image from Docker Hub. Yes.
yeah, I totally understand it. I'm going to try that. So for me, is to go back and practice what you just told me now and
Mhm.
see how I can make it work,
Sure,
right?
of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Because currently, I was going to think,
Greg, can you please give me one moment?
okay,
Mickey, please, one moment, please. I'll be back.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, no
okay,
Thank.
problem.
yeah, Mickey, I wanted to ask you a
Yeah,
question. So, for the our repo, the future repo. So
yeah,
I'm trying to merge. So I push some of my code to it just now, not quite long. So I created a branch, right? I created a branch. I call it backend, for example. So I'm trying to merge it with the main branch, but I can't.
second, let me open your GitHub. Just give me 1 second. And Craig Shah told me that he just has to confirm now. So he will have access.
Okay, okay.
It's done
It
now.
should do what?
It, he should have got an email. All he has to do
Okay,
now is confirm
okay.
the backend, right?
Yes, the backend.
And you want to push it in the main.
I want to push it to the main. Let me. I think I need to share my screen so that I can show you what I'm seeing.
Yeah, hold on, let me think for a second.
Yeah, I think it's because the main has some files in it. It's not empty. So, and what I've done is totally different. It's totally different. So I cannot
Yeah,
push it to it. So that
but
is
I
the
don't think
problem.
it would make a difference.
Okay, okay.
But
I don't know why I can't do that.
let me just think for a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Been a while since I've done something like that. I'm just gonna test it out, okay?
Yeah.
whoops, wrong way. From default to, I want to move it from backend. Yeah, to change it, shows 25. I think that's a command. I was just trying to remember what it is.
Normally, when you want to on GitHub, I'm
Yeah.
supposed to have the main and the backend branch, right? Then I can click on it to show a button and say able to merge. But I can't see that button. It's just saying new pull request and or compare and pull request. So I can compare it, but I can't merge it. That's why I think maybe because we have some stuff in the main. If we can delete what we have in the main, then we'll be able to push it, or just yeah, or just delete that branch altogether.
Hello.
Hi, copy.
Hi. I'm really sorry. I had to take a pause of 2 minutes in between.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need the command for moving backend to main?
I didn't understood.
Do you know the command to move? I can't think top of my head. I can't remember, but do you know the command to move like one branch to another?
You mean a movement between different branches?
Yeah. So he has a backend and a main.
Okay.
I want
So
to
he
merge
wants
it.
to move at the backend in here.
Basically, he wants to merge the two branches.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, just one moment.
I'm just trying to remember what the command was. There's a command that does that.
Git merge.
Yeah, git merge is the command, right? Remember, yes.
Okay, yeah. So Craig, you can try that.
Let me try git merge. See
Yeah,
if it will work.
Uh,
yeah. I'll stop sharing and you can continue.
Thanks, Mickey.
yes, Greg. So, do we want to have an overview of what we did, or if you have any questions, like which I can answer?
Okay. Let me just think for a minute. The thing is, I'm just trying to see different ways I could apply what we've been learning to real world
Mhm.
applications, right? So that's why I attend all these codeathons. Even though I'm not using it in my currently, I'm not using it in my day to day, and but I try to stay abreast with all this info that I'm learning.
Mhm.
So
So basically, you want to do some labs. Okay,
if we
just
could do a lab like what you said just now, that I need to pull an image, you could just show me. I think seeing is better. It will make it much more easy and clearer.
okay. Just one moment. Uh, I don't know. Suddenly, let me share my screen.
Uh, Yeah, we see.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, I see.
Okay, so actually, I hope you can see my screen. What you should know? No, this is the slide.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm clicking on Docker, but this is the first time I'm getting an error. It's not opening. Let me see. Okay, it opened. It opened. So this is the latest slide I just prepared while I was rebrushing my skills. It's just 11 slides, so it's nothing right now.
This what you should know. You said basic networking will help you. What does that mean?
Basic networking means you should know like how networking works basically. You should have an idea of networking, how computers contact each other or how applications work. You should have at least some basic idea of networking.
Okay. Thought it was different from from the others. No
Yeah,
command line bash on Linux. Yeah.
yeah, the Bash and Linux will be really nice, but they are not required. I mentioned here.
Mm.
And if you are have some exposure to command line, for example, I can open this command prompt in DOS like CMD, and
Yes.
then I know how to see the directories by dir command or perform simple commands. If you
Yeah.
have some knowledge, this will be really good. If you do not have knowledge, nothing to worry.
Yeah. As developers, we work a lot from command lines.
Mhm.
It's really a good tool to use.
My Docker is not working. I don't know. I didn't use it from some time. Okay. So let's see. For example, you go here in your command line and uh, you, you do Docker pull. Tell me name of any image.
Spring Spring Boot.
Let me try here. So we go to Docker Hub. So you need to have an account on Docker Hub.
Yeah.
And then you go here, you search for a repository name. I say Spring,
Why is it going off?
Spring Boot, you said?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay, now these are the different repositories with Spring Boot, for example. There is a repository called Spring Boot made by this user Prasadker. If you want to know about more about this, I opened it and no overview available, no particular instructions available.
Mm.
So you can find like which image you want to use. There are a lot of images, so you have to search basically which application you are going to use. Maybe on the application, for example, if you are working on XYZ website and there is ABC application that you want to use. So on that website, the ABC image, the link to that image will also be mentioned on that particular website. So for example, once you go to the image, there will be this command already, Docker pull and the image name. So for example, if I will pull this image, this is two time because I already mentioned Docker pull. So I delete this. And if I will enter this, it will say first, let me tell you everything. First of all, it will check whether it is in local system or not. Pull is not recognized as internal or external command. Okay, I forgot Docker. Docker pull. Okay, using the tag latest. Every image has tags. Tag means version numbers specified by tags. All the version number of images are specified by tags. So now using the latest tag because I didn't mention any tag. For example, if I had mentioned like Spring Boot 1.1 or 3.1, whatever the version it is,
Mm,
it would basically like pull only that version of that image. Now
okay.
I have not mentioned any version. It is using the default tag latest and it is pulling the latest image from the Docker Hub. So it is taking time because the image may be huge in size, maybe or may not be. Let us check. So this was updated 3 years ago by this
Oh,
particular user. And if we go back, this is 5.4 GB. Oh my God.
very, very,
My
very
system
large.
does not have that much space right now in C drive. Let
And
me
so
check.
it,
Let me check. So I do have that much space, but I won't be able to keep this image. I have to delete it. So let me cancel it right away.
yeah.
Cancel it by Control C. Right now, I do command Docker images. It will list whatever images I have. So I have Ubuntu image, which I downloaded before 7 weeks ago. It has Docker getting started, which I downloaded 2 months ago. So if I want to keep these images, this is okay. If I want to like for example, remove this image, I will run this command docker rmi and image name. For example, Ubuntu. Or I can also use this image ID. So docker rmi this and this image will be unable to delete. Image is used by stopped container. So uh, I can try again and I use the forced command. Minus F is a forced means if you are not able to use the delete an image because of any reason it is in use. So by putting minus F, it will forcefully remove the image. Now I again go and do Docker images. It is only showing Ubuntu. Now let me even remove Ubuntu. Docker RMI Ubuntu. I can use either image name or I can use image ID. I can use any of these things. And Docker image is nothing. Now I have nothing in my Docker. So earlier I was having 5 to 6 GB of space, but these images were short. So I'm not sure how much space I have. Let me check in my system. Around the same. Uh, this was the round figure I have last time. So this is how you will first of all you have to go to Docker Hub and you have to go to search and search for appropriate image you want to use and then you can pull it and you will get the pull command here with image. Are you there, Greg?
I'm here. I'm listening. I'm following.
Please ask your next question.
Okay. I was just also trying to practice. That's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. I'm gonna play with it. I was even hoping to do it now, but So my next question is: you're using Windows 10, right?
Right.
For me, I'm using Linux, so I have Ubuntu installed on my VisualBox.
Okay,
Um,
let me walk you through my latest slide. I was just making it
okay.
while I was learning. I was brushing up my skills.
Mm,
So what Docker does, what is container, about Docker, I think it's then installation. So this is something you have to keep in mind. Docker needs a Linux server to manage. Either the Linux server should be on the machine or it should be installed on that machine as a virtual machine. And if you install Docker engine, it has that Linux pre-built inside it. For example, in Windows, you directly install Docker desktop, which already has Linux inside it because Docker runs on Linux only. If you install Docker on Mac, it will be internally using something. So many people use virtual machine on their laptop. Docker helps to run this Linux virtual machine. If you have boot to Docker installed, you must remove it first because boot to Docker is an obsolete software. It was used before.
Hmm.
But now if you have to use Docker, you cannot use a boot to Docker. You have to uninstall this software. And then so this is something the part of slide. Would you like to go through it? There are only 4 slides. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So on your computer, Docker runs in like front end and a back end. So front end is a program called Docker or Docker daemon, whatever you say. And in the back end, there is a Docker which has its database or Linux server or Linux virtual machine, whatever you say. So on these two components can coexist on the same machine, or it can be on different machines. For example, are you aware with mainframes?
Mainframes.
Yeah. So
Mainframes are
there is a
quite old
yeah.
computers.
So I tell you, the mainframe data center is at a remote location, but we access the mainframe through a dumb terminal. Dumb terminal means it doesn't have its own memory. It just accesses the mainframe. That terminal particularly accesses the mainframe. Similarly, this orange program named Docker accesses whatever is in the black Docker. So black Docker has all the functionality inside it, and it's like a backend. And this front end is just used to orange part is just used to communicate with that. And so on your computer, you can have just the front end or both of these components. And then the third thing is Docker Hub. Docker Hub is something, the repository on a remote server, which is on internet, which is on cloud. You don't know which data center it is, but it is not on your machine. For backup purposes, you have created a remote repository. And so these are the commands. For example, after for that particular image, you use Docker pull. For example, I use Docker pull hello world. So pull means you are pulling the program from Docker Hub to your computer. Means from wherever it is stored in whatever server on Docker Hub, from that server you are requesting a copy of that program, and that copy of the program is coming onto your hard disk, your own local system. So next time you don't have to run the pull command because it's already on your system, and you don't need an internet connection in case you're running applications only on your system. You just need to use the run command. Okay.
Okay.
And uh, like this is something about Docker desktop. I already told you. You can use Docker for Windows, Docker for Mac, Docker toolbox. This is again for Windows. And anything that gives you terminal where you can run Docker command successfully, you are good to go. Terminal, like whatever I explained you in terms of mainframes, means the logic, everything, the memory, the storage is somewhere else. You are just accessing it through a terminal. Like this orange terminal is just accessing whatever is in black one.
Okay.
And if you have to try old, you can use the boot to Docker tool installed, and you are going to need to completely remove it and install Docker desktop if you have that old tool, because you have to opportunity to upgrade anyway. You can't do with floppy disk right now or a CD-ROMs right now. We have the portable hard disk now. You can just carry in your pocket and move your data. So we have to upgrade anyway. And then there are 3 ways to install this Docker. You can install on Mac machine, Windows machine, and Linux machine. And all there are different kind of installations. I haven't made any slide after that. So you were talking me about Linux, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there are commands already. Linux command. Linux command to install Docker, you will get every like all the instructions if you search on internet, log into your system with sudo privileges, update your system, install Docker, start Docker, verify Docker, whatever. You will get all the commands. And if you go to the presentation last week, I think this is the one. In the last slide, Docker, the presenter mentioned the commands. This is the command to uninstall Docker engine, means the Docker software. And these are the command. Below command, download the script of get.docker.com and runs it into install the latest stable release of Docker on Linux. So this does not mean that you learn to, you should know the meaning of these commands. But in case you know Linux and you know the meaning of these commands, this is always good to have. But else you can get these ready-made commands from internet, and once you will run it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, you will understand how it works and how to modify the parameters while you run these kind of commands.
Mm.
Yeah, so in the last class the trainer mentioned about these points: introduction, Docker engine, introduction to Kubernetes. Okay, this is the entire course. But we
Yes.
just covered the introduction to Docker, which like what is containerization, what is virtualization, what is Docker, what is the Docker architecture, how is Docker installed, what is Docker file, Docker CLI command line image, and Docker Hub. So in case you have any doubt in any of these points, please ask right now. This
No, no.
PowerPoint is available on Teams. Yeah.
Yeah, I have Docker already installed in my Linux box.
Okay,
My question that I wanted to ask, even trying it, is okay. Now, Linux is command line, right?
that's correct.
So, um, I'm just trying to even pull the Spring Boot image now on my Linux machine. Now, how do I actually see it? Like a like a GUI. You understand? To actually, put in my code. You said if I need to make use of a Spring Boot app, for example, I needed to pull the image, add my code, make my changes, and modify it and push it back to the app. But I'm trying to do that now. How do I see it?
Okay, let me see if I can. Because I do not have Linux installed on my system. So uh, I'm not sure in this.
getting it now. Let me
Okay, so I don't have the privilege right now to show you how a Linux terminal works, or I do not have access. So basically, you have to update your Linux. First of all, every time you install a new software, you have to run this command sudo apt-get update and some other commands. It will first of all update your Linux system to the latest version, and then you have to download your uh, whatever software you want to download, like Docker or anything. You have to download and then you have to run. We cannot run it right now. Sorry.
Yep, no problem.
Uh, please ask your next question.
I think I'm good. I'm good. I just need to practice.
It's Ashfaq have any question?
No, I don't.
Okay.
So you're learning Docker because you're already like in order to upgrade your skills, or you have some work that you want to do in Docker.
Um, Basically, one is to upgrade my skills, right? So I have the general idea of Docker. It's just actually putting it into production, right? Um, so it's to upgrade the skills, and I'm currently doing a work for the future that we're doing. Maybe in the future, if we want to scale up, we'll need to use Docker. But basically, it's just to um, upgrade my skills.
Okay, so let us you know all these concepts, right? Virtualization, containerization, and Docker architecture, and then there are some commands. So if you are working on a Linux package, you have to run this command just every time whenever you install a software or anything, you have to run this command. And this is the command to install Docker on Linux.
Yeah,
In this particular case, they are using Ubuntu Linux. And these are the command. These are in the PowerPoint, so you can get these command from them.
yeah, I have
And
it.
and
Okay,
after installing this software, sorry, after installing this software from here to here, you have to again then update your system. So these commands maybe download this and then you have to install the Docker after you have done with all these commands. Sudo apt-get install Docker CE. Docker CE is the CE version of Docker, Community Edition. And add a normal user to desktop Docker group. This is the command, and I cannot run these commands. I do not have Linux. That's the reason.
yeah,
And then yes, we can practice these images. For example,
Kapil, can we install Linux on the same machine as Windows, or do you need a separate machine?
no, you cannot install. We need another virtual machine in order to install. Either you can have a dual operating system, means at the boot time it will ask you whether you want to boot up Linux or you want to boot up Windows. The other
Yeah.
way is you can have a virtual machine installed on the system, and in that virtual machine you can install any operating system.
Okay.
These any two operating systems cannot coexist.
Correct.
Yeah. So it is just like for example, you have Windows on a machine and
Yeah.
then you want to install Linux. It is just like there is a mother and she's carrying a baby. But baby and
Hmm.
mother are two different things. They look together, but they are not together. Internally, like they are different, but externally they look together.
Hmm. Yeah. Understood.
Yeah. Because whatever you do, whether you open Word or Notepad, everything instruction is coming from the kernel. Kernel means the operating system, and there can be only one kernel, one operating system in order to run. But the beauty of container is container itself can contain another operating system. For example, I can install Docker on my system and then I can install any operating system within that container. But the life of that container is only till that container is running. Once that container stop running, everything is lost. And there are ways to retain the data, but like I'm just trying to explain. For example,
So basically, it's like a RAM. Like
no,
when
yeah,
your computer is running, your RAM is running.
yeah,
Like, yeah, your RAM holds the memory. Like once you turn off your computer, all the
yes.
memory is lost in the RAM.
So here, for example, so what is Docker? Lightweight, you know all this, and okay. So this is the kernel. Kernel is the main operating system, which is above the fish. And above the kernel, you can run different containers, and each container can contain a different operating system. It is not necessary that all the containers should have Windows in it or anything in it. Every container can have a different kernel. This is the part of containerization. But if you go back to virtualization like this, now, like the left side is and the right side, this is a comparison. So first there is a virtual machine. On the top of virtual machine, there is first operating system. Host operating system means first of all, you have to install Mac or Windows or Linux or any other operating system. And above that system, there is a hypervisor. And on the top of hypervisor, you can install any of the other guest operating system. But in this case, for example, if you have 16 GB of RAM, the guest operating system, which is in green and orange, total they will occupy 16 GB of RAM. There you can make some space available for something else also, which is unused. But the idea is the more the number of operating systems you will install, the more the space will be divided and underutilized. But in case of host operating system, you this Docker container, you first install Windows or Linux or Mac or anything else, Ubuntu, whatever. And after that, for example, in this case, this is of Windows. And then after installing Windows operating system, you install the Docker engine. Now the Docker engine internally is Linux because uh, it's inside it is Linux installed, the Docker engine. Now on top of this, you can run any number of containers. The beauty here and here is this. Here, for example, this particular guest operating systems needs 4 GB of RAM. This needs 4 GB of RAM. So 8 GB is blocked. You cannot use that any other, you cannot run any other guest operating system that needs additional memory in that in case the total memory is 8 GB, because 4 GB and 4 GB are taken. But in this case, host operating system, this entire thing has 8 GB of RAM, and now app one just needs 40 MB of memory. It needs a different operating system. App 2 needs 100 MB of memory and it needs another operating system or another application. So in total, they will just like 100 plus 80 or 100 plus 40. In total, it will just take that but limited amount of memory. It will not take 4 GB and 4 GB total of 8 GB an entire system. No, this is the beauty of Docker container.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Uh, and I think that was the most relevant slide that answered your question.
Yes, Kapil.
Yeah. Uh, so container is a self-contained sealed unit of software. Means If you put in something inside a box, whether you put sugar, whether you put salt, or you put any other spice, it is not going to interfere with anything which is in any other box. So that box is a container, and the container is an instance. It has life till it's running. When it stops running, it loses everything. There are ways to retain that data, but the idea is till the time container is running, you can process. And the source of that container is the Docker image, which is which you have downloaded and running on your operating system. And if you run that Docker image 10 times, you will generate 10 containers. It is as simple as running a Java program 10 times. You will have 10 different objects and 10 different outputs. So it contains code configurations. Configuration means configuration file that are needed to run that particular container. The processes can be any process. For example, when you run the Apache server, there are many processes which are required in the Windows services to run that process. So in order to run that container, whatever processes are required, if you are running Apache in a container, whatever processes are required, they will be in container only. All the networking, all the dependencies that particular software, for example, you're running SQL. So whatever dependencies are there for running an SQL container, or installing SQL on a particular operating system in relation to a container, that will be there, and the operating system itself. So you can run Ubuntu, you can run Red Hat, you can run you can run any different kind of containers on the same system. And the only condition is you should have that Docker image install means downloaded on that system and running at that particular time. Only then the container will exist. Once the Docker image stop executing, the container will disappear. Yeah. So we can practice these commands just for more clarity. So Docker build an image from Docker file. I'm not going to use this command because I'm not building any image from scratch. Docker images I just used it because I don't have image. It will not list any image. Docker run is run an image, but Docker pull command is you can run an image when it is already on your system. When it is not on your system, you have to first pull that image from the Docker hub. So for example, Docker pull, I'm using again Ubuntu. Now it is downloading the latest version of Ubuntu because I have not specified any version. If you want to get a specific version, you have to go to Docker Hub and search for Ubuntu and that particular version, and you will get that command, and then you have to run that command. So now you see pull is complete. So here it says pull complete, like there is one code. There can be multiple codes like this, and multiple time it can be written pull complete, because if image is big, it is downloaded in different parts in a vague way to understand this. Now, in order to run this command, I can use this next command, which is docker run. Now the Linux is running on my system in a container, what we were just talking about. So uh, I forgot Linux. I didn't practice it since few days. Uh, I really forgot Linux. So now I have just run the simple command dir inside the Linux image running on my system. And so there is no process running right now. So these are all the history of all the processes that I run before on my system. And then yes, to use build command, there is already an example. So let's try this example. It's still running. Let me cancel it. So let me try to explain you this command. This is docker run -d is detached mode, means whatever process it will do, it will not display on the this particular command line, but it will do in backside. This is parameter. This is port number of the container and port number of the system. And this is the name, means name of the image. Name of the image is node sample. I'm not sure. And then docker rm is to remove an instance. You mean you can remove any containers with this with docker rm. And docker rmi is to remove image. I already used this. Docker log is to get the list of the logs. So docker ps and docker ps minus a lot of them. So let me docker rm and let me this container remove and this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are around 11, 12 processes. I'm removing four out of them. Okay, one container is already in progress, which is F8. Let me remove it forcefully. Okay, there is no such container. There are just the logs of old containers. And let me do again docker ps minus a. So out of 12, now there are around 8 because four are deleted. So this is how we use docker rm and docker rmi, and then so this particular container has entire history, like when this container was used for what purpose. So this is all the code and language for that particular container. So you can get the logs for anything. I use this command to just to get a log of this particular container. And then let me see if we have any other commands. That's all.
Yep. All right. Cooper, do you have anything else? It's 5 minutes.
So Greg, let's do something like for next session.
Okay.
I'm just stopping the screen. Just give me one moment. Is my screen sharing still available?
No.
No.
Okay, just one moment, please. I'm just searching in my system if I have any other resource to offer.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I haven't found any resource yet, but yes, Greg, if you want to have some hands-on, I can prepare something that you can practice on Docker.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, so I'll uh, uh, try to I'll see something if I can get some resource from where you can practice the sample commands.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thanks.
yeah, so that we can have a more meaningful discussion next Thursday. And we are a team. No one
Yep.
of us is perfect. We are all learning. We are all growing. We are all helping each other
Yeah.
in this community. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thanks, Mickey. Thanks, Ash. Thanks, Kapil, for everything.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks, Kapil.
Okay, Ashfaq. Okay, Mickey.
Yeah. I'm going to stop the
Thank
recording.
you. Yeah.
Sure.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye and